Hi, friends. I hope you guys are doing really good. So, recently, one of the things that I've been doing is going back through all of the Carlos Castaneda books. If you've never read the Carlos Castaneda books or don't know what I'm talking about, it's a really interesting series. I think it depends on whether you include the books written by his students as well, but there's probably like 9 or 10, maybe 15 if you include those latter ones. Anyway, they're wild books, and there's a lot of things to say about Carlos Castaneda. Maybe I'll make some more videos about who he is and what he's suggesting through his narrative. But suffice to say, it's just been a really beautiful revisiting something. And the books are full of esoteric knowledge, very interesting esoteric knowledge from quite a unique perspective. But one of the things that is harped upon throughout all the books is something I've talked a little bit about already, and that's the communication that we have with nature. And I've talked about it in terms of animals often here in several of my videos, if I'm remembering correctly. But one of the ways of really developing a magical perception of reality is to talk to inanimate objects. And, like, for instance, rocks, mountains, trees, lakes, etc. And a lot of the things that I've said about animals and how I like to communicate with animals and focus on my relationship between them and really attend to them because they're so worthy of my attention. A lot of those things that I've said apply pretty much in exactly the same way to plants, rocks, all those quote-unquote inanimate objects. I really think that if you develop a worldview that is, what's the word I'm thinking of? A pantheist. I think that's the term I'm looking for. But the idea that everything is sacred, or the idea that there are spirits in the world and that everything is sort of part of the divine. If you can, one way to really enhance that is to just start talking to everything. Especially under certain circumstances. And sorry, this is kind of a roundabout way to get at what I'm talking about today, but you'll understand exactly, it connects. So, in these Carlos Castaneda books, the main teacher of Carlos Castaneda is this character, probably not his real name, named Don Juan Matus, I believe. And he has Carlos do all sorts of different things. But one of the things they do is collect medicinal plants. In many different scenes throughout the entire series, Don Juan has Carlos collect plants, because that's one of the things that he does. I think it's kind of one of his jobs in the world. Don Juan's jobs is that he's an herbalist. And he actually, there's a lot of different times in this series when various herbs are used. But one of the things he suggests to Carlos is or basically demands that he does, and explains many times, it's very simple, is that when you pick plants, when you pick them, when you have to kill them by taking them out of the ground, or if you collect parts of them, you should always talk to them. And Carlos in the book finds it really difficult because he feels stupid talking to plants, and it's a challenging thing for him to do. But I completely agree, obviously, as I've said before. But when you go in, just in more generally speaking, when you go into nature and you are going to take something from nature, whether it's you're hunting and you're going to take an animal's life, or whether you're picking flowers, or taking a rock, a smooth rock from a riverbed, because it feels perfect in your palm or you have some use for it. Whenever you go into nature and take something, I think, is really important that you give something back to nature, to leave a gift for nature when you take something. And I think it's just important to do that in general, but it's especially important, it's quite hot today, it's especially important if you're going to do something, let's say magical or esoteric with the thing that you're taking, or if you're going to cure someone with it. It's really important if you want that, if you want the ideal efficacy, the most power from that object. It's really important that you honor the fact that you are maybe destroying a flower or causing pain to something or rearranging things. You're changing the environment. And so I've just been hearing this over and over again and in the Carlos Castaneda books, and kind of laughing because I find it so natural to talk to plants. You can probably relate. I bet a lot of you can. But think back to this, and this is just kind of a sidebar, and then I'm going to give a direct example, show you one of the things that I mean by this. But if you think back to being a child, or even just hypothetically, like let's say you have a child with you who's maybe 3 or 4, maybe I don't know how old before it would kind of seem silly to them. But if you ask them like, hey, Juan, go say hi to that tree over there. Go over there and say hi to the tree. Most kids of a certain young age will just walk up to the tree and say, hello, tree, or something like that. Unless they've been told by their parents, this is a silly thing to do. They've been discouraged from having these sorts of relationships with inanimate objects. But it's quite natural to us. But it's maybe difficult for adults to say like, oh, hello rock, hello river. And in fact, at work and stuff, when people hear me talking to a grasshopper or a cricket rather, that I'm gonna pick up and put outside, they're like, what do you. And of course it's just that I'm just developing that relationship. But whether they're tuning into the tone of voice or your energy, who knows? But it helps. I'm trying to save them, like trying to get them into a particular cup. Just talk to the cricket and it'll usually work with you a lot more. But anyway, this is really important, especially that you give something back to nature. And maybe the thing you give is a physical item or water, or maybe it's your attention and your goodwill, or maybe your positive emotion. There's all these things that you can give, but it's important. So I'm going to show you a couple things that I've collected recently where I feel it's really important that I gave something back when I took them. I've got these really nice bluish brown purple flowers here, flower petals obviously, and then this other really nice sort of purple flower as well. I collected these a while ago, and I'm going to use them for some magical workings. But when I took those things, I made sure to give something back to nature. And that's so important because if I'm going to do something with this, like let's say do a magical working with these flower petals, it would be inappropriate if I didn't offer something back for them. So anyway, I just wanted to share that briefly and open some subjects like Castaneda and magic and whatnot. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you soon.